Hello everyone, and welcome to the 7th of April, which we're going to start here. I didn't quite get to 2 videos last week, did I? Time just ran away and I never got it back. But you can have a look at what I've done so far for April, which is, we started April here. I quite like this one. It's literally just couched threads that just change direction every so often. I did some hot cross buns for Good Friday. That's what they are. And some little, supposed to be kind of the flowering currant in the garden is looking really pretty at the moment. So it's literally just straight stitch, detached chain stitch, and a few French or colonial knots. So this week we're going to come back down this column here, and I've chosen a very vibrant green. It's a lot brighter than anything I would normally choose, but I think early spring is a pretty good time for getting away with vibrant greens. So I've just brought my thread up. It's a fine cotton, so it's a kind of cotton pearl 12-ish, I think. I've just brought it up slightly off centre, and I've just turned it around, and I'm going to, and as always, I haven't thought about this in advance, but what I'm thinking is a kind of blanket stitch spiral. So we'll see how that goes. So it's just normal blanket stitch, but kind of deliberately forming a circular shape. I'm going to try and keep these stitches fairly small. I'm just keeping an eye on where they're going because I don't want it to match up with that. I want it to come past it, so I want it to swing out round here somewhere. Just see if we can get this established. Right, we've got that to kind of swing out around there. I'm just going to park that for a minute, and I'm going to come back to this centre. And I'm just going to tighten that central circle a little bit. And you can do that just with a few odd stitches. It doesn't have to be more blanket stitch. Just to give it the impression of starting smaller. And you can always do that if you, you know, if you don't like the beginning, you can always go back and do the beginning again. If only we could do that in life. So now I've got a choice to make here. I can either join this, the ridge element of this blanket stitch. I can either butt it right up to here, or I can leave a space between it so it looks like something unfurling. And I think I'm going to do the latter, because I'm kind of thinking of ferns unfurling at this time of year. And in fact, everything's unfurling, isn't it? The leaves on the trees are sending out new leaves where there used to be buds. And everything seems to put a real spurt of growth on after the equinox. So I'm just continuing to come around here, and I'm just literally going to do that all the way around until either I've used up all the thread or I've used up all the space. It's quite easy to handle this one because it's right on the top edge, so I'm not having to manoeuvre a lot of fabric to get at it. And all I'm doing is just following that curve round. I'm just leaving a slightly bigger gap on the outside than I am on the inside to make it describe a kind of circular shape. Oops. And of course, it may not be spring where you are. And if that's the case, well, you've got all this joy to come. And likewise, we've got all the joy of autumn to come here in the UK. I'm just about coming to the end of this thread now, so I need to decide whether I'm going to go around again with another length of thread or whether I'm going to do something else, or whether in fact it's finished. So let's just take that down. Just finish that off on the other side and we'll have a look at it. Okay, so that's how it looks so far, and I think I am going to go around again with a new length, so let's do that. And of course you may be doing something very different today, because you know I don't think of this as a stitch along. I don't think of my cloth as any kind of blueprint for yours. I know some people do. I get lots of messages from people saying, can I see pictures of the whole thing so I can just copy it? Well, I think you will probably get more out of it if the stitches come from you rather than from me. And I can absolutely understand if you're new to stitching that you might think, oh, I can't possibly do it like that. Well, no, that's right. You won't do it the same, but yours isn't going to be any better or worse than anybody else's. I promise you. It will be an expression of you and your time and your style. And it will be much more valuable for that reason. I think probably the thing people lack as beginners is confidence, not ability. You know, actually stitching is quite easy. You basically thread a needle and pull it through some cloth. And there's nothing easier than running stitch or straight stitch. I mean, even blanket stitch is pretty easy. I think what people lack is confidence and belief that they can make something beautiful. And you can. Everyone can. The bravest thing to do is have a go. And there are lots and lots of different ways of doing this. You don't have to just do stitch. Kathryn from K3N Cloth Tales is doing a lovely project at the moment where she's doing something very similar to this, very similar to, it's a daily project, but she's adding, as well as stitching these little blocks, she's adding little scraps of fabric, and the effect is really beautiful. So, you know, there are lots and lots of different ways of doing this. I'll put a link to her channel and in the text underneath, so you can go and have a look if you don't know her already. I know she's very kindly sent a lot of you to me. Well, not sent you to me, but you know what I mean. But if you don't know of her work, you know, go and have a look. She has a lovely way with thread and fabric. Right, so in no time at all, there we are. We're kind of at the end of the thread and we're at the end of the shape, I think. So I'm just going to head down to there and call it done. And that's today. So I'm just going to send that down there. That's how the back looks. Sometimes I like the back better on these things. A few little back stitches there, just in that, where the grid lines are. And then we can just snip that off there. And there it is. I'm quite happy with that. It's very, very simple. But, you know, simple is fine. So, whatever you're stitching today, have fun. And I'll see you again later in the week. Bye for now.